What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quarrying, and some pretty wild updates from the Vance Bolter case. Not only do we have his notebook from his car to discuss, also some pretty chilling information around what appears, at least in my opinion, that the PD just let him take out two of these Democrats. They were waiting for him at the house, and they just let him walk right in and do it. I mean, they had exchanged some volleys, I guess, but this is looking very bad. I think the story itself is just falling apart. This is nuts. Let's get into the story. I do want to let everyone know we have our summer drop at Coffee Brand Coffee, which is my coffee company. We have something so awesome I want to quick tell you about. For the first time ever, we are offering Kona coffee, which is insanely luxurious, very expensive, very hard to find. I bought every pound of it that I could that was on the market, and we could only end up with about 2,000 7-ounce bags, which they sell Kona in 7 ounce as a standard. But we also have this bundle, which is our Kona coffee, Tiger's Blood, which is my new all-time favorite, and blackberry cream, and a new challenge coin, and a signed thank you card from me. This is our summer drop at Coffee Brand Coffee. There's only 2,000 available, and this is going to help us expand our facility and buy a couple new machines and new shelving and stuff like that, because we're really trying to place ourselves in a good spot for fall. Limited quantity. I'm almost done signing all the thank yous, and they will be shipping in the next week or two. So make sure you pick yours up today at coffeebrandcoffee.com/summer. Otherwise, I'll link in the description. Let's look at this. In other news, something is very wrong with the Minnesota lawmaker incident. The official story is full of holes and falling apart fast. The deeper you dig into Vance Bolter's alleged hit list and the backstory, the more it reeks of a cover-up hiding in plain sight. Authorities claimed he lived with a Papa John's delivery guy who called him a Trump supporter, but Fox 9 tells a different story, that Bolter is married, lives with his family, and owns a sprawling home. So why invent a fake roommate? Then there is the so-called hit list. Senator John Hoffman, who was actually taken out, isn't even on it. But Carrie Drydzek, who passed away of cancer 6 months ago, is. Bolter is 6'1", 220 pounds. The man in the footage appears slim and nearly a foot shorter, and somehow police were already at the scene before Bolter arrived, yet a shootout erupted at the front door. None of it adds up. This smells like a cover-up, one investigator said. It's starting to feel more like the movie Civil War, where no one knows who's fighting for what. This is crazy. And then we look at this. We now learn that Minnesota PD just stood by and watched as Vance Bolter took out Representative Hortman in her home. How is that possible? Minnesota law enforcement just reported that the two Minnesota police officers were already on the scene watching before Vance Bolter ever even stepped inside Representative Hortman's house. They saw Boltman in the driveway wearing the Halloween mask and a fake police uniform and engaged him. Then, after a short firefight, police sat and watched as Bolter entered the home and took out the representative and her husband, and then the police let him escape out the back, all after Senator Hoffman was already reportedly taken out. The police didn't stop him. This is obscene. Again, Minnesota police stood by and let him commit this crime and walk out the back door. Nothing makes sense here. I mean, this is crazy.
Bolter approached Representative Hortman's home, again dressed as a police officer, wearing the tactical vest and body armor, and wearing that hyper-realistic mask.
Really wasn't very realistic.
He was armed and carrying a flashlight. Before he entered the home, 2 Brooklyn Park police officers arrived at the scene. They too had been dispatched.
Were they women?
To check on Representative Hortman after learning of the shooting of Senator Hoffman.
They should be fired, by the way.
When they arrived at the scene, they saw Bolter's black SUV parked in the driveway.
Why didn't they stop him right there? With the
emergency lights flashing, and they saw Bolter standing in front of the house several feet from the door. When Bolter saw the officers get out of the car,
okay,
he drew his weapon and began firing. He rushed into the house through the front door, firing into it. He repeatedly fired into the house, and when he entered, he murdered Representative Hortman and her husband, Mark. The Brooklyn Park police officers fired at Belter as he rushed into the home, but he escaped into the home and out the back.
They didn't surround the house. They just let him go in there and they just stood around, or what?
Officers recovered Belter's 9mm Beretta, along with the body armor and the mask, behind the home along his path of flight when he fled on foot. They later searched Belter's car, where they found...
They didn't... So, a 60-year-old man outran 2 police officers?
5 more firearms, including assault-style rifles and a large quantity of ammunition. Belter also had in his car notebooks containing a list of more than 45 Minnesota state and federal elected officials, including Representative Hortman. Now, Belter planned his attack carefully. He researched his victims and their families. He used the internet and other tools to find their addresses and names, the names of the family members. He conducted surveillance of their homes and took notes about the location of their homes. He also prepared in other ways. He concealed himself as a police officer, outfitting his black SUV with police lights and a police license plate, wearing a black tactical vest and body armor, carrying a police flashlight.
I could understand why somebody inside the house would be fooled by this. Like, absolutely. But why didn't... They already knew that he had taken out 2 other politicians. Why on earth did they ever let him... Why didn't they just take him out immediately? They let him park and walk all the way into the house before engaging him? How far away were they parked? They should have just been sitting in the driveway.
And a handgun. And of course he wore that hyper-realistic silicone mask as seen on the surveillance videos.
Nothing is adding up here. He, by the way, now we have his notepad, apparently, where you see he's got literal check boxes, beenverified.com, ownerly. These are to find addresses, the search, people finder. These are all pages from his notebook. One of the websites describes itself as your premier destination for high-end, hyper-realistic silicone masks. That doesn't really look hyper-realistic to me. And I got to admit, it does not look like the guy. It doesn't look like the guy to me. I mean, here he is standing outside the home. How did you even let him? I mean, he had everything in the car. He had the weapons crammed in the center console, ammunition, a cell phone left behind. But didn't he text the people? Then we have this. Chilling notebooks found. As more details admit. Well, I wanted to find these text messages first. I want to talk about those. Oh, yeah, here. So, again, look at this guy here, and then look at the guy in the videos. It doesn't look like the same guy to me. He texted, Dad went to war last night. I don't want to say any more because I don't want to implicate anybody. Bolter said, who's 57. He also sent an apologetic message to his wife around the same time. Words are not going to explain how sorry I am for the situation. There's going to be some people coming to the house armed and trigger happy. I don't want you guys around, he wrote, according to the documents. Authorities who searched Jenny Bolter's car as he hunted down the alleged assassin found $10,000 in cash and passports for her and at least some of the couple's kids who were in the car at the time of the traffic stop. According to the documents, Bolter had previously said that he and his wife had 5 children. He is now facing federal and state charges for his crimes and apparently could land him the death penalty. I thought they didn't have that in Minnesota. The suspect meticulously planned the attack with some of his handwritten notebooks showing he jotted down details about many politicians he had on his radar. The feds alleged beneath Hortman's name, they noted married Mark, 2 children, 11th term, with another calling the separate notebook saying big house off golf course, 2 ways to watch from one spot, apparently describing the lawmaker's home, as he wrote down a myriad of internet-based people search engines that aggregate data for a person's home address, phone numbers, and court docs. Bolter first targeted Hoffman. We know about that. Again, we still know nothing about the motivation. Here I wanted to talk about, he said he's broke. Alleged Minnesota assassin Vance Bolter cries poverty during court appearance, claims he can't afford a lawyer despite owning a home and 7 cars. He arrived in federal court in St. Paul in an orange jumpsuit and slippers and was unshackled as he sat next to a defense lawyer. The suspect, accused of taking out state representatives and her husband and wounding another, whined to the judge he couldn't afford a private lawyer, noting that he only had a part-time gig that was bringing in about $540 weekly, according to the outlet. Where was this guy's money going? That's the weirdest part, you know. That I don't understand. It's not clear what Bolter even was doing to earn money. Well, I'm wondering if somebody was funding him. Hucky, you're okay. Just a lawn guy. It's just a lawn guy, Baba. Come here. See, if they had a couple of mean watchdogs like Huckapuppa, you know, who barks at Leafs, they'd probably be all right. The suspect also copped in court to owning a home and having 7 cars, as well as between $20,000 and $30,000 in his bank account. The judge asked Federal Public Defender's Office to look at the accused financial situation, but agreed it's unlikely he can afford a defense lawyer. He was held without bail, with detention hearing set later this month. Federal prosecutors at the hearing had called Bolter's alleged crime extremely serious and requested he stay behind bars. This flies in the... He allegedly also wrote a manifesto and the names of other elected officials he had planned to target, but they have not released any of that. Well, they've released some of the names. We still don't really know why he did what he did. I wonder if we'll ever find out, and I wonder if he'll survive jail. I'm betting against it. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't yet, or follow to stay up to date on all the latest news, as I will always be covering this and many other stories each day. We'll talk to you again real soon.